Welcome everybody to the Off the Mic Wrestling Show here on YouTube. I'm Mike Mayer. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Reacting to AEW Dynamite, the first Dynamite following All In, and I've got to tell you, this was a big nothing burger. I mean, par for the course for AEW, because a lot of their shows really haven't been spectacular of late. And I mean, some people were propping this up. It was Ricochet's big debut. Bryan Danielson was making a big speech. There was some significant stuff that happened on this show. But a lot of the big announcements kind of registered, and I've used this expression a lot on this channel. It was a wet fart. Main event closing angle, don't even get me started. I got thoughts on that. So the show starts, and this was odd because there was audio issues in the building. Clearly, they're on the campus of the University of Illinois, which is Tony Khan's alma mater, so cool. They haven't been there since like the early days of AEW in 2019. And I saw that like 2,000 people, man, dude, it sounded like these people were going to church. Like this was a bad, bad crowd. For being around the Chicago area, which is a good wrestling town, this was not a good Dynamite crowd. And, you know, par for the course of just like, you know, this card really didn't do much for me. For average viewers, I'm going to be curious to see what the number comes out, but it's just like, what is AEW trying to aspire to be is my question. So the show starts, some random music hits. You see a graphic flash up. It's Jon Moxley, who has not been seen since the end of June. A massive, massive deal. He is the ace of this company and has been one of the biggest names and one of the biggest stars in this company. No reaction, because nobody knew it was him. They played his old New Japan theme. He's been coming out to Wild Thing for the last 3 years. So he comes out, Tony Schiavone. It's a really clunky start. They're trying to play up that it's like some sort of like surprise and nobody saw it coming. It's Jon Moxley. Come on, we at some point we really have to like, you know, suspend like kayfabe from the reality of the fact that this is John. They knew he was coming back. Don't bullshit us with that. I understand it's wrestling. So basically, Jon Moxley, he gets in the ring, starts talking with Tony Schiavone. He said he hadn't been doing a lot of talking lately. He had been doing some thinking. And he said he was looking to have a conversation with somebody who wasn't there tonight, but was everything like him and nothing like him at the same time. And he said they had some things to sort out. And he mentioned Darby Allin by name. Okay, why? And this is the mystery that's being played up of what's going to happen. So that's the end of the promo. Moxley walks away, starts to leave the ring, but he comes back and tells Schiavone that he had to understand something, and he tells Tony that this company doesn't belong to him anymore. Tony Schiavone looks kind of spooked, a little scared, and Moxley just left. So we're teasing another hostile takeover, and we did this after I think it was after Dynasty, when Tony Khan got attacked. And we played up a big angle from this, and I don't know what's to come of it. We'll talk about a little bit the second part of this angle that developed, which really, you know what, okay, they're utilizing some underutilized people with a star like Jon Moxley. Where this all leads to, it could lead to Shane McMahon taking over and being an authority figure in this place. But listen, we already tried doing this in April, and it didn't work. The Young Bucks and the Elite are looked at as afterthoughts, so why should I care? Why should I care? Like, it's just, you know, we'll see where this all leads to. So then Conglomeration gets a promo. It's Willow, Tomohiro Ishii, Hook, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, the whole gang. Orange Cassidy's there as well. Mark Briscoe does his hype up thing, his weekly promo where he just says a whole bunch of crazy shit, and he's just freaking entertaining. You don't even care what he's saying. He's just so energetic and so much fun to watch. Natural charisma and enthusiasm you see from him. It's really great to watch Mark Briscoe in this company and to see him get I'll give Tony Khan credit for this. In the aftermath of that tragic passing of Jay Briscoe, they have honored his legacy, and Mark has become a big-time player in professional wrestling because of it. And it sucks that it had to lead to that, but Tony Khan, one thing he does very well is he honors legends and he pays respect to people. And he's a very respectable person. in some ways that could be kind of detrimental when you're running a wrestling company. But when it comes to somebody like Mark Briscoe, you get some of these gem segments that are just a blast to watch. Another thing to come out of this segment, Willow Nightingale names her stipulation for All Out against Chris Statlander, which she won in the 0-hour tag team match where she teamed with Tomohiro Ishii against Stat and Stokely. It's going to be a Chicago street fight. Willow has mentioned that she's got a good track record in these street fights. She's been great. I think Willow is just fucking awesome. She's a gem. I thought what happened to her with Mercedes, she got done dirty. It was a really stupid idea. I understand why they did it, because Mercedes was supposed to win that match against Willow initially, and that's the only reason this became a thing. But do more with Willow Nightingale. Like, she's a gem. She's an absolute gem. So then opening match is Hangman Page versus Tomohiro Ishii. Why? All respect to Tomohiro Ishii. Guy, outside of like the hardcore wrestling fans, nobody gives a shit about him. I think he's great. He basically has no neck. He does a lot of strong style. He beats the crap out of people. Hits hard, like the typical strong style Japanese wrestler. But man, why are we putting him in a match with Hangman Page? You've also got other people who are talented at home, not getting television time, and yet this got 17 minutes. Why? I don't know. Because Hangman needed somebody to beat. But then again, why is he going 17 minutes with Tomohiro Ishii? That doesn't make any sense to me. Because then what happened after was so much more, infinitely more interesting. Swerve Strickland walks out there, and this promo was great. It was also weird because Swerve is supposed to be the babyface in this whole thing, and Hangman is the heel, even though Hangman is really the good guy in all of this, because he's just standing up for the fact that Swerve went into his house, traumatized him and his kid, and just, like all the stuff that he did last year, and yet Hangman's the bad guy. This is the weird psychology of this whole thing. But this promo was really good. So Swerve gets out there. Nana does a really serious version of the Swerve dance, which was very interesting. So Swerve tells Hangman that he felt sorry for him and that he'd been acting like a petulant little child, throwing tantrums. He told Hangman he gets further away from success every week, and Swerve gets closer. Then said he would always be referred to as a world champion, and for that reason, Hangman failed. And this got really personal. Hangman then grabbed the mic and said he wasn't a champion, he was just a piece of shit. Broke into his home, then wrestled him 3 times and couldn't get the job done without help. First time it took Prince Nana. Second time it took Nana and Cage. Third time it took 30 minutes and he couldn't get a decision out of it. And so then Hangman then said he wanted it just to be the two of them. Swerve replied they could do it all again and be locked in, and they challenged and the challenge was set for a cage match at All Out. Hell yeah. I'm all about that match. Seeing these two beat the crap out of each other the way that they've done. I mean, you had the match. You've had multiple matches between these two that have just it's the best thing going in a really just ice cold company. So I'm glad that they're going back to this. Swerve then continues the promo. He goes back. He says, "Yeah, I went back to your house, and I watched you load your pregnant wife into the car to go become a father for the second time." This was after the match of Revolution where he lost. He said that's the man Hangman was supposed to be, and that's when he realized he needed to stop focusing on Hangman and focus on being the world champion. Swerve brings up Hangman tapping out to prevent Swerve from winning the title and costing his team the match of blood and guts. He then said Hangman's obsession with him has caused his career to fall apart. Swerve again brought up the cage and asked Hangman what kind of man was he going to be in there for his kids. And then Hangman doesn't even respond, doesn't give an answer, just walks to the back. This was great. I don't know why we needed Hangman to have a match with Tomohiro and go 50-50 with Tomohiro Ishii for 17 minutes. That's not to disrespect Tomohiro Ishii. He's a great wrestler. But there's no heat behind it, no buzz, no story, just giving Hangman a match. And seeing what happened after that, it's like Tomohiro Ishii didn't even matter. Like, what's the point to give Hangman a win? And if you're going to give Hangman a win, why have it go 17 minutes? That it felt like a waste, empty calories. It felt like a waste of time, and that really frustrated me. So then we go immediately to the next match. My queen, Jamie Hayter, who I was really pissed off that she got done dirty. AEW had some horrible time management. They had a 4-hour show. They jammed Jamie Hayter onto the kickoff show. They jammed the four trios match competitors onto the kickoff show, and they still barely got done inside of 4 hours. And they had to rush a Jack Perry match, as reported by multiple people that match had significant time taken off of it because they had a curfew that they had to hit in London. But my queen Jamie Hayter's back. I did like, and I'm willing to kind of see through why they're going with Saraya as her return feud, even though I think Jamie deserves to be thrust in. She was the women's champion. She was a women's world champion 15 months ago when she got let. But they showed footage of it was Saraya and the Outcast at Double or Nothing that attacked her. And Toni Storm, pre-timeless form, beat Jamie Hayter to win the women's championship. So Saraya does have some history here. So there is some element of it, but it also shows you where the Outcast were then and where they are now. Ruby Soho has distanced herself. Toni Storm is a different character. Ruby Soho is now pregnant and I think she might have had the kid already, but she's now off television. So, and now you've got Harley Cameron, who, God bless her, is just not good. Like she's a developing talent. Like she's got a little bit of entertainment to her, but she's not really a good wrestler. So this was fine. It went 3 minutes. Jamie pretty much beat the crap out of Harley the whole match. She got a soul food, had some Uranagi backbreakers, and then hit the Haterade, the ripcord lariat for the win. Only took 3 minutes. So this was this was good. Like, for what it was. Build up Jamie Hayter with a strong win. She was pretty over, even though there was not many people there. Good to see her back. Push her, Tony. Come on. She's our queen. Come on. Our queen, Jamie Hayter. Then we get to... So after the match, Saraya just bailed to avoid a confrontation with Hayter, where obviously, I don't know if this will happen at All Out or if this will just happen on television. But they're clearly going to go with the slow build for Jamie Hayter to eventually, get her path to, I would presume, it would be the Women's Championship in Mariah May, but I could also see it being Mercedes Moné and the payoff being a little bit bigger there because Mercedes is a bigger star in Ice Cold, and frankly, nobody cares about her anymore. So Jamie winning the TBS title could be interesting. And then you've got the element of potentially, if stuff is good with Jamie and Britt Baker, you could potentially spawn off and have a feud there. So I'm not going to even run through the Chris Jericho segment that followed in the back with just a bunch of people yelling. I did appreciate Roderick Strong, yelling at Chris Jericho. He mentioned, hey, I'm sorry that I beat you last year when I was associated with Adam Cole, so that was nice. He then asked Chris Jericho for advice about, how do I get Kyle O'Reilly away from Orange Cassidy? We're still on this thing with Roderick Strong trying to peel Kyle O'Reilly away from Orange Cassidy. Okay. And then at the end of all of it, they were talking about paying the price for the actions. Brian Keith just stands back there and just yells in the microphone, "Pay the price!" I guess Brian Keith's thing is he just yells and repeats shit. So it's dumb. We then set up an MJF promo, showed Daniel Garcia getting involved in the match. MJF gets down to the ring. He said he was in a lot of pain and had a headache. He demanded the crowd pipe down, even though the crowd didn't really care. Otherwise, he jumped the guardrail and beat every last one of them. He then complained about losing his title in his ring, said he had herniated disc in his back. He complained about being abandoned by the fans when he was defending the company in the country in the United Kingdom. He denounced his U.S. citizenship. So the only place that matters in the United States is the most magical place in the world, playing by Long Island, New York. It's the same promo that we've heard all the time from MJF. I love him, man. He's so fucking talented. But you got to evolve, buddy. Like, this is the same heel shtick that you've been doing for your entire career. So then he addressed Will Ospreay, said they weren't done by a long shot. He acknowledged how good he was, but said that he's about to win the greatest prize. He would cut him down at the knees with a smile on his face. And then he shifts his focus to Daniel Garcia. said if he ever showed up in AEW again, he would end his life. Garcia then showed up, attacked MJF from behind. He choked him out, set up for a pile driver, decided not to do it, decided to set him up on the top rope. But security ran out to stop it from happening. MJF then attacked Garcia from behind, but Garcia was able to attack and get control again. Tried to do the top rope pile driver again, but Christopher Daniels and security broke it up, and so they get held. It's a pull apart. They're both being held back. Garcia gets on the mic and tells MJF he pawned the Dynamite Diamond Ring to get a round trip ticket to London to ruin his life. He called MJF's life now his fetish, which was an interesting choice of words. He said he talked to Tony Khan that they would have a match at All Out. Garcia said he wouldn't be satisfied until he drops him on his head and breaks his neck. And if there's anybody left that still loves him, they would have to watch it and see him suffer. And then he throws the microphone and it actually bounced off MJF, who was standing on the ramp. So that was a neat little touch. Good promo from Daniel Garcia, man. I mean, he's not necessarily known as a great promo guy, but I'm hoping this takes him to the next level. I know a lot of people don't see a lot of, superstar potential in Daniel Garcia, but if this is the feud that's going to get him off the ground, I'm for it. And I think, I do think, even though MJF lost, this feels like Garcia needs to win in this match at All Out. It just feels like he needs to get pushed to that next level. He's had shots at the international title. He's had all these opportunities, and it just hasn't worked out for him. So MJF then accepted the match. They all walked to the back, and this was a good little piece of business here. I'll be honest. I was doing a space with my friends from San Antonio down for the count when this match was going on. I'm glad that I didn't watch this match in full because it was, all due respect, it's a Chris Jericho segment. Nobody cares about a Chris Jericho segment. So it's Hook, Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and Kyle O'Reilly versus Brian Keegan, Big Bill, Roderick Strong, and Chris Jericho. So Conglomeration gets the win here. I guess Roddy took a pin here. And Hook put in the red rum for the finish here. But after the match, Bennett and Taven get in and assault Hook with Roderick Strong, who holds up the FTW title and celebrates. So I guess Roderick Strong's now going after the FTW title. Again, I will be very careful with my words. The FTW title is not a joke. It just does not mean anything in the grand scheme of things when you have 50 other titles in your company that you can't book properly. And this one isn't even technically recognized. So, listen. Roderick Strong's got something to do, but man, what a fall from grace I said it. The Undisputed Kingdom is just an unmitigated disaster. I mean, where the hell is Wardlow? Where the hell is Wardlow? I have no idea. And again, going 15 minutes with this when you got Ricky Starks sitting at home and you got other talent, Wardlow sitting at home, you can't give them TV time, but you give Chris Jericho a 15-minute match. What are we doing? Come on. So then backstage segment, Mercedes Moné, oh boy. Her and Camille are celebrating her title defense over Britt Baker. Private Party walked up, tried to hit on Mercedes. Props to Isaiah Cassidy for shooting a shot. So Private Party is quickly shot down by Camille, and also Kazuchika Okada shows up. They said sayonara bitches at the prompting of Okada. And Okada is then dancing and said CEO. These are your two biggest signings outside of Will Ospreay that this company made. And they're doing comedy bits. That's the state of this company right now. And you want to know why I don't take this company seriously right now. Okada's supposed to be one of the best wrestlers in the world. I will admit, I did not see him being this charismatic. He's been very entertaining. And he's honestly the only redeeming part of the New Elite. That being said, this guy is considered universally one of the best wrestlers in the world. And he's doing comedy segments and dancing around and saying bitch all the time. That's what are we doing? What are we doing? Then we get something that was actually low-key entertaining. So Mariah May comes out for a promo. She's wearing a robe over her clothes. Said her title celebration was postponed because she wasn't going to do it in this town. She said she knows it's called Champagne. It should be renamed Piss Warm Beer. She insulted the women in the crowd as below average and said they used to putting piss warm beer in their mouths, among other things. She then offered to provide a lesson in glamour, which is her gimmick, and said she would now take off her robe and allowed everyone to gaze. She revealed herself in a little black dress, very skimpy clothing of sorts, with a title belt around her waist. She then told the crowd that was enough and walked to the back. In the midst of all this, Tony Khan, not Tony Khan. If it were Tony Khan, this would have been 10 times more awkward. Tony Schiavone was the MVP of this segment. Like, Mariah was great with her heel heat and stuff, but you could see Mariah was just being like, she's being like the flirtatious type and being the blonde bombshell, the glamour as she is. And then even when Mariah took her robe off, like, Tony was like, just like, ooh, okay. That was pretty funny, actually. Tony Schiavone actually did a really good job in this segment. That actually was pretty entertaining. So then we get a video from backstage at All In. It's the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson. Hell yeah, I love seeing these two guys in the company. Can add a ton to this tag team division that is just dead on arrival right now. So GYV starts to cut a promo, but they're interrupted by the Young Bucks. The Bucks try to be, try to be their jovial selves. GYV shuts them down, told them what they did at All In was a message to the entire division, including them. They then said, when you see GYV coming, grit your teeth. And then we see them backstage promoting a match with the Outrunners on Rampage. They then repeated their whole grit your teeth catchphrase, sort of in a little bit of an awkward moment. You know what? Okay. The Outrunners came after me on Twitter, so you know what? I hope the GYV kills them. And just me being a little bit petty, because you know what? That's this company. I mean, I dared to say, hey, you main evented Rampage. Congratulations. But hey, congratulations. You get to face a really good tag team in the Grizzly Young Veterans. I hope you get a good showing and you stop going after me on Twitter. And then we get the main event, Kyle Fletcher against Ricochet. Listen, I love Ricochet. And the aftermath of this makes me feel a little bit optimistic. This is basically who he was in WWE. He's going to go out and have a match with a glorified mid-carder, a talented guy like a Kyle Fletcher, and do a bunch of crazy shit for about 10 to 12 minutes and just do a bunch of spots, and he doesn't have to talk as much. So, okay, that's fine. So Ricochet gets a Death Valley Dryer near the end of the match for a near fall, follows it up with his inverted lifting DDT that he is now calling Vertigo. That's interesting that he's not going for the 630, not doing the shooting star press. I guess he's distancing himself away from the recoil because that was a WWE thing. But Ricochet, right decision, gets the win here over Kyle Fletcher. I wonder what the fuck they're doing with Kyle Fletcher. This guy's taken a lot of losses. He's a young guy, and I understand that he's got time. But you want to make us believe in a guy? Stop putting him in matches that he's going to lose. We've been through this a lot. Like, he faced Swerve early in his title reign. There's no reason for us to give a shit. So, after the match, Ricochet celebrates as Fletcher attempts to recover on the floor. Will Ospreay comes out, walks on the stage, but before Ospreay can even say anything, Pac comes up from behind and hits a poison Rana on the stage. Holy shit. God bless Pac, man. He's so fucking awesome. Pac grabbed a mic, told Ospreay that was a message to not forget about the bastard. He then told Ricochet, welcome to AEW. Now get in line like everybody else. And Ricochet goes to check on Ospreay on the stage. We're clearly setting the stage that obviously the match at All Out was announced with Will Ospreay defending the international title against Pac. Presume Ospreay will retain, and then we will go into whatever is going to happen with Ricochet and Ospreay. That's obviously what they're going for. That's why they had Ricochet go against Fletcher. I thought that there was a chance that Ospreay would show up, and this happened. I didn't expect it to go like this, and kudos to Ospreay for taking a poison Rana on the stage. And the match with Pac should be great. I'm looking forward to it. So then Jon Moxley's walking backstage and was asked what he meant earlier. He probably that you don't cast pearls before swine, and then turned to a random person backstage and said everybody needed a dose of humility. So like some security people are going after. And then it's Marina Shafir who shows up and assaults a few random people backstage, and she and Moxley walked off together. I actually thought it was Mercedes Martinez for a second, who I didn't know if she was with the company anymore. I got confused. They're finally using Marina Shafir in a different role, so good for her. I still have a lot of questions about what this Jon Moxley thing is going to lead to. I don't know what it means. He's clearly not in the BCC anymore, which is an interesting approach to take. But, having him be a heel is a neat idea. He's a very... And you know what? This could be leading to Shane McMahon and some sort of hostile takeover. And maybe that leads to something. But again, this was kind of just like it didn't start off well with Moxley coming out randomly out of nowhere to his New Japan theme with no reaction. That's just not how a top star really should be presented. And then he's pairing up with Marina Shafir, who nobody's seen. Like I forgot what she looked like. I thought she was somebody else. So, okay. And then we get the main event segment. It's a Bryan Danielson promo. He referenced trying and failing numerous times, but finally capturing the AEW World Title. Spoke about the 50,000 people in Wembley Stadium wrestling in front of his family, and how his daughter told him that it was the greatest day of her life seeing him win the world title. That was really good. Bryan's so good. He said she had also rode on a double-decker Peppa Pig bus earlier in the day, and that may have also been a factor. So Bryan being a dad, that was pretty... So Bryan gets teary-eyed when he said it was the favorite moment of his career. It's like, okay, he's entitled to his opinion. And of course, yeah, he was able to do that in front of his family, and he wasn't really able to have Yeselmania in front of his daughter and his son. But yeah, it's just, listen, I don't think anything's ever going to top what happened at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. I do think that this was pretty damn close. But again, none of what happened at Wembley Stadium would have happened if Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan had not had the rise to the top, culminating at WrestleMania 30, beating 3 Hall of Famers in the same night. So like I said, he gets teary-eyed, saying it was the favorite moment of his career, but he was asked what was next at the press conference, and they asked what was next, and Bryan brought up that his contract had expired at the beginning of August, said he needed neck surgery, all the stuff that we had seen in the media. I like that they kind of broke the fourth wall here. Said his family's ready for him to come home. He thanked the people that started in AEW and said the company is awesome and it's made pro wrestling and his life better. And he's obviously happy and he's made the business better. I think he could have done more for himself, but he was more about, and I swear to God, to his own detriment, Bryan Danielson is maybe the most selfless wrestler of all time. Because I swear to God, that guy put over more people in the last 3 to 4 years than anybody in all of professional wrestling. He is one of the most selfless guys ever. He deserved to win the world title. Good for him. So then he said he got to the back on Sunday and thought about all of the peers in the company and those that would come in the future. And he thought it was probably about time for him to go, but not yet. And that popped the crowd. The crowd was into this, but like I said, it just was not a very good crowd. He promised to be a fighting champion that defends his title as much as possible. He said when he lost the title, he'd be done as a full-time competitor, but that wouldn't be anytime soon. And then it leads to the wet fart of an ending. Jack Perry shows up on the screen. Oh my God. Hold on, let me get through this and I'll explain why I have such a huge problem with this. And he said he knows Bryan's future. He referenced injuring Kenny Omega and burying Darby Allin at Wembley Stadium. He said his future was to retire Bryan Danielson, and Danielson's future was behind him. And that's when Jack Perry shows up in the arena, attacks Bryan from behind, lands some punches. Bryan attempts to get to his feet, but Perry lands his running knee strike, and he stands tall with both the TNT and AEW World Championships held up to close the show. We're getting Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry for the world title at All Out in Chicago. I understand Chicago's got a little bit of meaning to Jack Perry because that's when he really made his comeback. But let's put this into perspective for a second and where we are with AEW having absolutely no fucking shame in doing this. Jack Perry, almost a calendar year ago today, was the main reason why your top draw, AEW, left in CM Punk. He incited a fight with CM Punk because he is a pompous, arrogant kid who doesn't know any better, and he's got his friends to support him who are executives in the company. And he's getting a world title match in 2 weeks' time while he's already holding the TNT title. I understand Darby Allin's got a title match at Grand Slam. You've also got Christian Cage potentially involved in all of this. But man, for Bryan Danielson's first feud as a world champion, I would not have gone to Jack Perry. So I think this is a huge miss, a huge wet fart of an ending to a really kind of underwhelming follow up to one of AEW's best shows of the year. Not its best show of all time. That's All Out 2021. You can watch that video here on the channel. But listen, if AEW is going to improve, they have got to start getting people to take them seriously. And if you're going to put Jack Perry in the main event of one of your shows, you're not going to get taken seriously. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. This is not the way I would have gone. It's really, really disappointing. So we'll see where AEW goes from here. You got All Out a week from Saturday. Some good matches on the show. I'm looking forward to MJF Garcia, Swerve, and Hangman. It'll be nice to see Bryan Danielson on the show defend the world title, but it's against Jack Perry, so why should I give a shit? So, a lot of great content coming out this week. We're going to preview Bash in Berlin. We're going to preview NXT No Mercy. We'll have a SmackDown review at the back half of the week. I've got a video coming out about Ricky Starks and how disappointed I am, and I've been really trumpeting that this week on the YouTube page and on the channel and on my Twitter page. Follow the Twitter feed, OT Mike Wrestling. Follow me at Off the Mic 28. Like, share, and subscribe here on the YouTube channel. I will love you forever. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye-bye.